Quinshon Judkins is the running back we're talking about. Ohio State running back, 5'11", 5'8", 221 pounds, 9¼ inch hands, 30 and a quarter inch arms. I mean, whatever. He's 21 years old. He'll be 22 in October. He ran a 4.48 in the 40. He had a 1.51 10-yard split. So very good 10-yard split. 132-inch broad jump, 38.5-inch vertical.
Gross. Gross numbers at his size.
Totally disgusting. Did you see some of the workouts? This guy's got some balance. He's got some power. He's got some strength. Crazy. He was running last year behind the 40th best run blocking unit there at Ohio State. Yards after contact, 587 out of his 1,060. He had 194 attempts for 1,060 yards, 14 touchdowns, 22 receptions, 161 yards, and 2 additional touchdowns.
Yeah, so Judkins for me ended up being my running back 4 overall out of this rookie class. And it's weird. I was talking to you guys before the show. I'll be tweeting this out very soon. I do this every year where I tweet out my running back rankings overall. And this year is weird because, like Matt said, like so many of these guys are so close, right? So I'll have them ranked, but also be very tier based. But my top 4 is like I have 4 separate tiers. I have almost 5 tiers right now for 6 guys, which is nuts. Like Genty's in tier 1 all by himself. For me, personally, Trevian Henderson's in tier 2 all by himself. And then I have Amarion Hampton in tier 3 all by himself. And then I have Judkins in tier 4 pretty much by himself. And then I have Cam Scadaboo and Dylan Sampson for me in that next tier. Because right now, outside of draft capital, like that's how I would draft those guys 10 out of 10 times. And that's how I kind of do my tiers. Like if I would take you 1 out of 10 times, then you're still in that tier because I would still consider you there. Right now, I see those guys very defined off the tape.
Do you think draft capital could merge those tiers potentially?
It could, but again, Trevian, just because Hampton goes higher than Trevian Henderson wouldn't really move it to me because I expect Henderson, if he doesn't go into first, very high second, right?
Right.
Everything I'm hearing, it looks like Hampton's probably going to go in the first round, which would then probably solidify him over Judkins for me right where I have it. Unless Judkins ended somewhere great, you know what I mean? But at the same time, a first round pedigree.
What if he was a second round pick to the Browns?
For Judkins?
Yeah.
Love it.
It depends. It would depend where Hampton went. Yeah. Like I'm not going to let people be on Twitter and be like, oh, he's Ohio State guy. That's like because he didn't go to Ohio State, which is the stupidest thing. Because I've never ever rated anybody on Ohio State higher than anybody because it is whatever. Like the tape's the tape. Now the Browns, that does get edged to me, but at
least you're honest.
No doubt.
Well, I've said this 100 times on the podcast, right? Like we play a game that's supposed to be fun. Like if you're on the Browns, it's my favorite team. I'm watching every second of you. Like it's gonna be a little bit more fun for me. But I'm not gonna go like a huge tier over somebody. Like if Henderson, if Judkins goes to the Browns and Henderson goes somewhere sweet, like he's still nowhere close for me.
Winning is more fun than anything else.
100%. So. Watching Judkins film, I mean, this kid is a human batter ram with like a little bit of nitro boost factor as well. Watch him against Michigan. He's attacking those inside gaps. He has that very sudden burst, which is really nice. So he explodes through those creases. Like he has some TNT in those cleats, right? Preston runs deep in the line with patience before slashing with controlled chaos. He's a very physical runner. Penn State, watch that tape. Bulldozing arm tackles. You're not taking them down. It's like middle schoolers trying to grab them and wrap them up. It's just not happening. So these pads are low, square, legs drive through contact like he's punishing sins, finishing with a 4 lean that racks up always like an extra 2 to 3 yards every damn time. Outside runs for him, very nice. Like he has that burst and explosive to get to the outside, kind of like a Kenneth Walker esque out there for him. So
with more finish.
It reminds me of Joe Mixon a little bit.
Joe Mixon's a little bit more savvy in the passing game, but I'll take that. I like him on the outside. Watch him in the Maryland tape, him gliding outside, reading his blocks, very calm, like he's a Buddhist monk out there as well, so he doesn't get overly excited. For me, his short yardage, that's his bread and butter. 45 career touchdowns, 1 every 16.4 carries. He's the goal line Jalen Hurts, right, on the tush push. Iowa shows him on it in that tape there, 3rd and 1, shrugging off linebackers. Pass protection's really good. Viable in the passing game, not his strong suit.
Right.
But again, they had Trevian Henderson there, so they didn't really need him to do there. So a lot of his stuff was just check downs and things like that. But like Garrett says, cans and cannots, right?
Yep,
like,
he's a can.
Where do you look at him? So for me, he's a 3-down running back that could be a running back one. I mean, kind of like a Derrick Henry, a little less burst, but more viable in the passing game. His size, his touchdown, that nose there, his monster form there is where he really likes to live. It is a little odd when you see somebody like Trevion Henderson, in the same exact scheme, average 7.1 yards per carry, and him to average 4 point. What was it like?
He had 5.5.
Is it 5.5? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In the same scheme, same system for a big, powerful running back with quick feet. But overall, I mean, he's a high floor running back. Like, this is a 3-down guy you could put in there, a perfect fit for like the Steelers would be really nice out there. The Titans would be a really good for him. Cleveland would be any of those AFC North run defenses would be really good. He'd be a really good fit in Chicago. Outside of DeAndre Swift as well, kind of paired up there.
Absolutely.
He's somebody that can win and be a running back one. He's young. He's a bruiser. He gets it done. He's so explosive. It said his combine numbers that Matt read off kind of show that as well. For being 220 pounds and to have the feet that he has and explosiveness that he has is very impressive.
A 1.5, 110-yard split at
That's
that
fantastic
weight and size is ridiculous. I mean, that's really, really good.
And like you talked about before, like, is that his true acceleration, or did he work really hard at the combine? I think it's both. I think it's both. I think he does have good bursts when you watch his tape, like that does jump out. But I also love seeing that, like, obviously this guy worked his tail off for the combine. You can tell he put in that work, put in that time. That should translate to the next level.
I was just saying, and there's things, there's guys that do that and work out and do really well and still don't have those kind of numbers.
No.
So, you have to have like a baseline athleticism and explosiveness in you to get that. And he for sure does. And you're getting like you mentioned him as a battering ram, and this guy loves contact. When he gets, especially, you get him on a DB anywhere, he's going to lower his entire shoulder, his head, everything's coming down, and those guys, and he gets low, and it's pretty amazing for a guy, I think, that size, for him to be able to kind of generate that kind of pad level and just strength behind it. I mean, it's very rare that I get excited like watching guys, but I love watching Quinshon Judkins run because he isn't afraid of anything. He wants the contact. He is going to bring an attitude to whatever team he has, whatever team he lands on. He's going to have a tougher attitude. It's going to have a tougher attitude because of him running the ball, basically.
The one thing that I'll add to all of this is he started off his career in the SEC at Ole Miss, and as a true freshman, he was already putting up 1,500 yards. Yeah. Like, that's nuts. That
18 years old.
That is really difficult to do in a major conference like the SEC or the Big Ten, to put up those kind of numbers as a true freshman when you're like the focal point of the offense.
He was smaller too then.
Yes. And so to see him, he was definitely there were some people that I listened to that said that they thought he lost a little bit at Ohio State. I didn't see that. I watched both tape.
Okay.
He looks like the same player to me. But if you're telling me that this Ohio State version guy could potentially be better, then I'm definitely not upset. Like, that's great, because what I saw at Ohio State was a legitimate, yes, he should be drafted in the second round. He has the skill set to be a featured back at the NFL level.
What was the size difference when he would?
That's a good question. I'd have to go look.
Okay.
But I would have to guess he gained at least 10 to 15 pounds from his freshman year to now. Most of those guys do coming out of high school and then getting those college programs.
From his freshman pitcher coming in, I was like, oh, look how much smaller. Like, he looked about 15 pounds.
Did you see the recent video of him working out?
Yeah.
He ain't small.
No,
he ain't small at all. Honestly, I thought he was going to weigh more than he did at the combine. I wonder if he's slimmed down a little bit to run that better 40, because it wouldn't surprise me if he's like really 225, 228 where he's really playing at, which I would have no problem with at all. But
his 40 was nice because speed, he's not that home run threat runner. He's like, go give me 4 or 5 yards.
But he can
he can rip off runs.
I mean, remember the national championship game, and everybody points to that as a negative, and it like dropped his stock for a little bit, which I thought was silly because like, DB that runs a 4.3 caught him after 70 yards. Yeah. But like, he ripped off against one of the best defenses in college football, like big long runs. So he can do it, but you're right. Like, his bread and butter is like, I'm going to rip off 6 yards here, 8 yards there, 5 yards here. Like, that's his game. Like, I'm going to chunk, you to death.
And he's scheme proof. Like you want to run some zone, he'll
got to know speed.
Good luck trying to stop him.
He's got a bag too. Like he can make you miss and stiff arm.
Yeah,
like,
he's got some moves.
Yeah, he's got the full package.
I like
big fan.
Which
is nuts. He's my running back 4.
That's what I was just about to say. Like most years, other than the Bijan year, I could have seen him being the RB1 in almost any of those classes. It would have been close with Brees, but yeah.
When Rich was breaking down his top 4 tiers, that's exactly all I could think of. Like any one of these top 4 guys that Rich was talking about could be the number 1 guy in any given draft. Like that's how good all of them are. So Quinshon Judkins, I'm teetering back and forth. I see the upside of Marion Hampton just catching the ball more. So I think
I have him a skosh high.
That's the differentiation between these two guys, because Quinshon Judkins can do it, but I just don't know how much an offense is going to want to get him involved in that way. Like if they have another guy that does that, he might just be the guy that runs the ball and occasionally gets
like
a
Nick Chubb.
up.
You know,
right.
Like, here's 2 passes.
Just like Nick Chubb. Like dude, you're so good at running the ball. We're gonna run everything through you and occasionally toss to this other guy over here.
And those guys, I mean, a guy like him, sometimes those guys, they could throw me off a little bit. But I said, I mean, the fact that he can do it, like when we see guys like him, like the Adrian Petersons, the Derrick Henrys, the Nick Chubbs, they do win.
Yep.
In that category. Definitely like Derrick Henry, the back half of his career when he actually got more involved in the passing game, shows the upside of a guy like Quinshon Judkins. Very good running back. Like it's like you said, this class is special, and he's one of the crown peaks of the mountain that make it so special.
The one thing I will say, some of his pass pro I think was a little bit it was hit or miss for me. There were times when everything looked good, like especially when he's able to go forward and like chip a guy and come after a guy. I think he does well. There were times in pass pro when he was asked to kind of absorb a hit and he wasn't as effective there. So I think he just needs to work on that stuff a little bit as far as anchoring and being able to kind of hold up in those situations. But other than that, I think he was fine in the pass pro stuff. I did want to mention that as like, because we're talking about the passing game stuff, that another thing that he might need to kind of work on a little bit. Yeah.
There were a couple times too where he had a very solid score on vision for me, but there were a couple times where I was like, you might have rushed that one a little bit, or you could have maybe widened that a little bit. So there were like little nitpicky things here and there, but sometimes, you know, with some of these running backs, I just know I'm better than you.
That's right.
And so like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, yes, maybe I could have had a better run if I would have blah, 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 blah. But like at the end of the day, I just think I'm better than you, and I'm gonna see if I'm
And I think he's the type of guy that like is sizing up DBs to go, I could try to run around, but I'd rather just hit you. Yeah. And like, cause that's
his attitude.
He likes contact.
Oh, you see him after a big pop. He's like, he gets hyped. Like the Michigan game, the Penn State, like he gets jacked.
It makes you question. Like, oh, dude, it's like, okay, is his vision awareness like slightly like not there? Or is it like he doesn't just give a shit?
No,
you know what I mean? Like
it's probably the latter.
Yeah.
There's a few times like awareness type stuff that
popped
up to me where like it was 3rd and 1. Could have easily hit it up in there because he's Quinshon Judkins for the first down, and he would like bounce it, and they didn't get it. Just little things like that. I did notice like game IQ.
Yeah, I had a couple little dings on him for that. Not a lot, but enough.
And then enough to put him at running back 4. Yeah, like against guys that are like, again, when you have Hampton, Henderson, and Genty, we're like, dude, almost flawless. You know, like, It's just enough, and you have to.
That's all it takes at times.
You have, and then NFL drafts can be a big help for these running backs.
Dude, I cannot wait to see where all these guys go.
He's my RB3 right now.
Judkins is?
Yeah.
So you take him ahead of Hampton?
I have him, Trey, and Hampton all in the same tier.
Okay.
So. And it's fine. Like the same thing. Like nobody's even like, oh, Rich, you have him his own tier as running back 4. Like I'm not going to argue. Like we're like the tiers here aren't like big tiers.
Right.
It's they're crocodile.
That's basically
tiers.
us saying like where they go in the NFL
crocodile
draft.
Tiers are big tiers.
Crocodile tiers I thought were fake tiers.
Landing spot.
Lots of different. I thought look at those big old crocodile tiers. I thought those were big tiers, but I could be wrong now.
Anything you want to add on Judkins?
Nope.
There, Jared?
Nope.
So Bucks. Overall, he's in our top 4. He's running back 3 for Jared, running back 4 for me, running back 4 for Garrett, and running back.
I think he's going to be 4 by the time I'm done.
Who's your top 4, Rich?
I have Genty, Henderson, Hampton, Judkins.
Okay, so you guys all have the same 4.
Which is crazy. That's not normally how it plays
I had
out.
Hampton at 4. So
and it's close. Yeah. Even like as special as Genty is, like in the right. I've said this before. Like with if Trevor and Henderson win the first to the Chiefs, like it's not like, oh, that's pretty pretty sexy. I mean, it's pretty good for where he can win, you know?
Sure.
So very happy to the point where, like, I'll say this. In a super flex league, it's pretty much Genty, probably, like, I'll throw Cam Ward into that mix right there because, like, Cam Ward looks really good. He's going to go number 1 overall. So, like, it's still super flex regardless.
Yeah,
it's just so hard to pass up on first-round running backs, though.
But then, like, that's the thing. I'd be okay with taking all 3 of those running backs ahead of Cam Ward, which is crazy to say. Probably not. That's the thing. Maybe
see.
not Judkins. I'll see where he ends up.
Sure.
But, like, at the same time, I'm taking all 4 of those running backs before I take my first receiver.
Yes.
I might be too. It's close. You know, we'll talk about the receiving class.
I still gotta watch a lot more receivers, but our first receiver covered is the
first
number
big
one guy and some guys, and I have some things to say. So I would definitely take all 4 of those guys out of him, most likely.
All right.
I agree.